Sex is everywhere. We live in a hypersexualized society. This is not up for debate. You can access sex at any given moment. All you need is Wi-Fi or a smartphone or a smartphone. It's so easy to access. You can see it in movies, you can see it in TV shows, you can see it on porn websites, obviously, but you can also see it in things like Instagram, social medias, TikTok, etc., etc. And nowadays, with the advent of technology, you have things like AI porn, AI girlfriends, and deepfake porn. It's nuts. But we are living in the craziest time when it comes to hypersexualization. And the key for a man to live his best life is to desexualize his mind as much as possible. Now, don't get me wrong, does not mean that you cannot have sex. It does not mean you can't have a healthy sex life. But in order for you to have a healthy sex life, you need to objectify the woman you see in your life. You need to let go and quit things like porn and not stare at women like they are a piece of meat to consume. And you are not doing this for the woman. Of course, they benefit from this, but you benefit the most from desexualizing your mind. And of course, the people around you as well. By virtue of you desexualizing your mind, you can live your best life and you can contribute. You can be the better version and contribute to the society with the best version of yourself. So everybody benefits, but you are the first one that benefits the most. And this is the most important thing. So the key to desexualizing your mind is first of all, quit porn. You cannot desexualize your mind if you don't give up porn. And there are other things like mindfulness, meditation, and lowering your gaze. And I will talk about this in a minute. But if you do not give up porn, you will always be addicted to porn. You will always be in this hypersexualized state of mind. Your brain will always be hypersexualized because porn is an insidious poison that all men should let go of. If you have porn in your life, you won't be able to have things like meditation. If you do not give up porn, your mind will always be sexualized. You will always objectify a woman, and it will be hard to reach your fullest potential and your fullest masculinity and your fullest spiritual self. So that's why you have to quit porn. And then you have things that can help you with quitting porn, like meditation. If you start meditating, you will reach a state of desirelessness. It does not mean that all your desires will fade, but it means that you will be able to cope with those urges when you want to watch porn. And not only that, the urges will be lesser and lesser, and the intensity will not be as strong as when you did not meditate. So if you can incorporate things like meditation, that will help you give up porn. And you have mindfulness. Mindfulness is related to meditation. If you can be mindful and stay in the present moment, be aware of your breath, be aware of what you're doing, be aware of the trees when you walk outside, be aware of your steps, of the movement of your body, of the sounds, the sight, etc., the thoughts that are moving through your body. Of course, you don't need to do this all at once, but if you can have a bit of mindfulness where you are not reactive to your environment, but you are active in this environment, you are active in this present moment, you honor this present moment, the more you can be focused in what you're doing. If you are working, you do it wholeheartedly. If you are commuting, you do it wholeheartedly. If you are sleeping, resting, you do it wholeheartedly. You don't let your mind get distracted by your thoughts, by restlessness, by all of those distractions the world has. If you can practice that minimalism of thoughts, of mind, you, the power of your mind will grow stronger. You'll be happier, more satisfied, more fulfilled. And that is by virtue of practicing things like mindfulness and meditation. And you have a third one, which a fourth one, sorry, which is lowering your gaze. I strongly advocate this practice, and it's not an easy one. Lowering your gaze is something I got from the Muslims. If you are a Muslim, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's called the modesty in your gaze. If you are on the street or in the club, or maybe you should not be in the club, but if you're on the street or at the gym or in campus or at work, if you happen to stumble upon an attractive woman, instead of looking at her and lingering, you just look away. As soon as you see a woman that might trigger attraction in you, sexual thoughts or fantasy, you look away. You do not linger. You look away and do not look back again. If you practice this, it will help you not objectify women as much. Because don't get me wrong, because when you look at women with lust, when you watch porn, you will objectify women even if you don't necessarily feel like you're doing so. Because porn is objectification of women. There's no two ways around it. And I'm not blaming you. I'm not even blaming myself for doing this for so many years. But if you want to not objectify women as much or not at all, you have to give up porn, be mindful and meditate, and also lower your gaze. And it's not easy at first, but by doing this over time, the muscle of lowering your gaze will get stronger and stronger. And it's not easy. The Muslim explained that if you do this, Allah, God will put a sweetness in your heart. Isn't this beautiful? Now, I don't necessarily believe in God. I'm more into Eastern philosophy, but it applies no matter what. There's a sweetness in your heart that develops. Your heart softens because you are not brainwashing your mind to objectify a woman. So therefore, you are kind to yourself and you are kind to woman. It's a win-win situation for everybody. And that those four steps are very important. And you can do it in whichever order you want. But the first and most important thing is to give up porn. And obviously, mindfulness, lowering your gaze, and meditation will help you give up porn. So if you do all four at the same time, progressively your life will get better and better. I guarantee it. And obviously, I will make other videos explaining each step by itself. I'm Sebastian. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you very soon.